in. Thank you very much for logging in to this last plenary session of the first day at the AIMA's National Management Convention. Respected Sadhguru, founder of Isha Foundation, and a person of several avatars, which would be almost too many to describe. Preetha, former AIMA President and Vice Chairperson, Apollo Group's Hospital, and everybody else. This is indeed a great privilege and honor for me to introduce people who don't need introduction, frankly, and welcome once again Sadhguru to this special session. It is really a pleasure to have you. We know that you have logged in from the United States, and you are in the beautiful natural environment that we see behind you and not a virtual environment of some picture, which makes it look nice. You have been on the road, in fact, and you are on the road, and we are very grateful that you have made, if I may say, this pit stop to be with us at AIMA. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people feel the need, more so, for the refuge of spirituality when they cannot control events in their lives. The COVID situation is one such event, which at least has come for the first time in everybody who is alive on this globe. And this has made a lot of people feel helpless, and spirituality has helped them get some solace. We are very pleased, therefore, to have one of India's best known modern spiritual thinkers and gurus to tell us how we can cope with this during these very, very uncertain times. Preetha, thank you for making this session tonight. And now I will hand over the proceedings in your able hands to conduct this session with Sadhguru. Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru, founder of the Isha Foundation, Harjpat ji, president, key leadership of AIMA, and a phenomenal global audience of over 6,000 people across a spectrum of age groups. Never happened before to us. Thank you all for being part of this very important 12th session of AIMA's National Management Convention. I know it's been a day of intense discussions, totally intense, and now we're truly blessed to have Sadhguru with us to guide us with his innate wisdom, spiritual insights, and to help us re-engineer ourselves so that we're better equipped to get through these absolutely challenging times. Sadhguru, I've been asked to introduce you. To me, it's an honor. And honestly, I don't know what to say. So I was just thinking.
Am I that bad?
So I was really thinking, from my childhood to my children and my grandchildren, it's always some superhero or the other. And they looked at the sky and said, is it a bird? Is it a plane? And no, it's Superman. So Sadhguru, are you a yogi? Are you a mystic? Are you a spiritual master? Are you the pragmatic guru? We know you're all that. So I don't think I should say anything about, somebody like you. We have seen different aspects of you. You've held us mesmerized on Shivratri nights. You've danced through the nights, which I don't think anyone much younger than me could keep up with. So I think to us, you are a superhero in many, many different ways. Thank you for your grace and for being there with us. Totally unparalleled as a person with your profundity and pragmatism. I think it's what endears you to all of us. And I think that's what's the difference. You're not a guru who sits very far away, but you're with the people and completely control our minds and hearts when you want to. So thank you, Sadhguru, for being there for us.
That is an accusation.
Possibly. And now you're on a mystical road journey, 10,000 miles across 15 states, to explore history, the culture, and the lives of indigenous Native Americans. I've never heard anyone embark on something like that. And before that, you stunned us with a rally for rivers from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, driving all the way. And I think we kind of met you on some of that journey, but I think that was totally astounding. So I think for everybody in the audience, those who've been, in total turmoil, there is some silver lining that, if somebody like you can really make such a huge difference in people's lives and in the world, maybe this too shall pass. To me today, it's like, a ship in the middle of a stormy ocean and the captain of the ship saying, should I really, reach the shore? I can kind of see it a little far away. Or should I just set down my anchor and, brave it through the storm? Honestly, we seem to be in a situation like that: economic upheaval, climatic change, the flip side of social media. But there must be answers. There must be answers out there. And I think, unprecedented times, people losing jobs, people losing their businesses, this COVID taking over people's lives, the way we talk to each other, the way we do things. And then there is this whole social dilemma. There's a whole race and age group which is saying, do we really look forward for likes and comments? Do we have to be so anxious and depressed? Or can we use social media to really, make the world a better place to live in? So I think those are some questions which are out there. Everybody spoke to me about inner engineering. And I didn't know, I thought it was, something which it was like a practice and we had to go through an exercise. But what it did and what it has done is that it has taught us a need for balance. It's taught us how to balance our day-to-day lives with a very challenging business life. It's taught us to prioritize and maybe, have a sense of duty. And I think for industry, it means a new way of working. And for the individual, it's embracing newer skills and looking at a balanced existence. So I think the inner engineering has literally touched multiple lives. And will you just tell us a little bit about that also, Sadhguru? I know you have answers to a lot of questions, but please guide us on what it will take us to bounce back. How do we lead and manage in challenging times? And inner management, which really needs inner engineering. Will all these answers to all these questions help us with the new normal? Again, thank you for being there with us, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram. See, we're calling this as a challenging time. When we say a challenge, what it essentially means is, we have not figured out the whole piece. We may know parts of it, but obviously we do not know parts of it, that's why it's challenging for us. Right now, here, the fish in the Mississippi River don't find COVID times challenging times. Maybe they do because there are more fishermen out there. I don't know about that, but I'm just saying the bugs on the plant don't find this challenging. So I'm saying it is challenging because we are looking at it from a certain perspective that we are used to looking at. So essentially, in principle, a challenge means that we have not figured out the whole piece. So when we have not figured out the whole piece, that means we have not understood the nature of the situation. When we have not understood the nature of the situation, jumping into conclusions about what is the way out of this, what is the solution, is a bit hasty. and unnecessary, which will lead to all kinds of disappointments and deviations, and above all, human ingenuity is gone, simply wasting time in trying to figure an imaginary situation. When I say an imaginary situation, the reality is one thing, but what's happening in people's minds is a different thing. If we do not in some way separate our psychological world and the existential reality, then we will always remain confused and everything troubles us. So all those who are complaining now about these challenging times, please ask them, when everything was running well, when their businesses were doing well, when it was full on, when they had to attend 25 meetings in a day, were they going through this blissfully? Then also they were stressed. Now they
Yes.
have a break and they have a stress. So the problem is, because people do not know how to control their own faculties, how to manage their own psychological sphere, they think the whole cosmos is their thought and emotion. No, we need to understand this. What you and me think and feel right now is purely our psychological drama, has nothing to do with the reality. If we want to handle the reality, there is one way to handle it. If we want to handle our own psychological case, that's a different matter altogether. So fundamentally, inner engineering is about bringing the necessary division between these two. What is real, what is not real? Traditionally, this is being called as nitya anitya. It must be clear to you what is for real and what is not. So when you mistake your own thoughts for reality, see, thought means you can make it up. Right now I'm asking all of you, whatever number of people who are online, can you think of a tiger right now? I'm sure it's not in Chennai, but can you think about it? You can. Can you think of a lotus flower? You can. Can you think of an eagle? You can. Can you think of a mountain? You can. Can you think of an ocean? You can. So I'm saying, you don't have to be in the mountains or in the ocean or seeing a tiger to think about it. Your psychological sphere and the beauty of being human is that you can create a whole new world within yourself. Creating a whole new world of your own is fantastic, but believing it is true is disastrous. That's all that's happening right now. And that's all that's happening every day through most people's lives. They create a whole world in their mind and they think it's for real. And then it collapses. This happened some time ago. This was, I think, during 2008. During 2008, there was a little bit of economic collapse, which India did not suffer much, but Southeast Asian nations and other nations went through a certain turmoil at that time. At that time, some of the American billionaires who were all there at the World Economic Forum were seriously upset because of the economic collapse. So at that time, this was demonstrated to them. Someone put a chair in front of a mirror and said, see, there are two chairs here, one there, and two were clearly visible. Then they put one more mirror and suddenly there were 100 chairs. See, there are 100 chairs here. Now, if I remove one mirror, 98 will disappear, two will be there. If I remove the other mirror, only one will be there. But the fact of the matter is, only one was there all the time, you made up the rest. So if we do not understand what is our psychological and social manifestations and what is reality, inevitably we will suffer, no matter whether the situation is working in our favor or against us. Right now, it is a challenge, definitely. Isn't it true human beings are always looking for challenges in their lives? Tell me, if we don't give you any challenge for 2 days, won't you endeavor into something? This is why most of you are entrepreneurs, because you like a challenge, you want trouble, isn't it? Somebody said, I was to go for a talk in New York City, and this guy comes to pick me up. Then when I walk down to the street to get into the car, I see it is one of those racing Ferraris. I said, what? I'm going to the talk in this Ferrari? He said, yes, Sadhguru, you can drive if you want. I said, no, I'm not going to drive Ferrari in Manhattan. But this guy takes me and zooms from, traffic light to traffic light and screeches and brakes and again zooms. I said, what is this? Sir, at least you can get a decent car to drive in the city, this is for something else. He said, no, no, Ferrari is like this, like that. I said, what is the big deal? There are many other cars faster than this, why this? He said, it gives me trouble. And I'm sorry, he said something today will be construed very sexist. He said, it's like a woman, she gives me trouble. And I like it. So, people like trouble, aren't they picking it up all the time? Every day, isn't everybody looking for some adventure in their life, some enterprise in their life, because you're looking for a challenge. When a challenge is thrown at you, why are we crying? Let's not cry. All that we have to do is hunker down a little bit, watch carefully what is the nature of the challenge we are facing. What is it that we are facing right now? There are many, many, many ways to look at it. I know this may sound little kind of… those who are suffering job losses and business losses and variety of things, I know all the pains that are going on. It's not just about money and business and wealth. People have lost dear ones, people have lost their parents, their brothers, their sisters, their children, and they're not even able to go to their funerals. This is painful, I'm not saying no. But I'm asking you, which generation in the past ever had this luxury that if somebody dear to you dies in, let's say, in another part of the world, you just flew in there in few hours, attended the funeral and came back in few hours. Which other generation did it ever have? It was always so, I want you to know, if somebody dear to you died somewhere, you heard about it after a month. This is how it was. I'm saying within the country. If it is just 500 kilometers away, you heard about it, many days later. This is how it's always been life. Just the luxury and the facility and the comfort that we have had in the last 50 to 70 years' time, let us not abuse that. Yes, we've had, right now a little rollback has happened. Shouldn't we roll back and look at it, how else to address life, rather than just going off into all kinds of philosophies? Right now, I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you, Preetha. You said, this too shall this too shall pass. I know these kind of slogans are being thrown around by philosophers of all kind. I'm telling you, even this also will pass, everybody knows that. It's not just the situation will pass, you and me will pass. But before we pass, how do we deal with this? This is the question of life, isn't it? See, these things, these Zen sayings have been taken totally out of context and thrown around everywhere. Let's get realistic. The reality is just this. In some way, the activity that we were used to, physical activity that we were used to, has been cut down. That's all that's happened. Well, our monies, revenues might have been cut down significantly. For all of us, I'm saying, please don't think anybody is an exception. Our foundations are without any revenue sitting here, all right? But already, the way we are made, we are like this, we have cut down our diets, we have cut down the expenses in the ashram, we've cut down all our expenses to 40% of what we were just 4 months ago. But we are not suffering, we are doing it joyfully, that's all. Many of the, people who are living in the ashram, our seekers in the ashram, many of them are giving up one meal, one dinner in a week, they're giving up. I said, don't do this, it's still not necessary, such a thing. But no, Sadhguru, we want to contribute, and they're giving it up joyfully. So I'm saying all we have to do is hunker down, watch the situation, how it evolves, be ready. Ready means when you have time, should you not get physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually better than what you were 4 months ago? This is all you must do. Because when life gives you time, when the machine is running, nobody has the time to fix anything. When it gives you time, this is all we should do. We must prepare ourselves for whatever form the challenge is going to come to us. In what form it'll come, we do not know. Everybody is talking like astrologers, business people, politicians, even scientists unfortunately are speaking like astrologers, saying, post-pandemic. Whoever told you there will be a post-pandemic, I'm asking? You think this is like a cinema? You go sit in the cinema hall, after 2 hours it says the end and lights come on? Nothing like that is going to happen in my perception. This is like, if you look back and see how many millions of people have died of tuberculosis. I don't know, Preetha may have the number. How many millions have died? I don't know, maybe 100, 200 millions of people have died in the last century. Probably, I do not know the number. Even my grandmother, at the age of 22, she died of tuberculosis because there was no treatment at that time. But now, still the tuberculosis is out there, but we have a good treatment protocol. So when we step on the street, we are not thinking tuberculosis, tuberculosis as we are thinking about this virus. So essentially, we need a treatment protocol which will make it ineffective, which will make it possible for us to go about and do our business as we normally been doing. So there has been tuberculosis out there, malaria out there, dengue fever out there, chikungunya out there, all kinds of things out there, out of which so many people have died. But we've been going about our activity. That's what needs to happen. There is no such thing, in my opinion, as post-pandemic. This may sound very brazen, but I'm telling you, this is how I'm seeing it, because I'm looking at it not from a medical perspective, not from a scientific perspective. I have a feel for life around me, and every life is resilient in its own way. You may call it virus, you may think… you may want to paint it as a villain. Maybe the next movie they make in Mumbai will be about virus ball going around and doing all kinds of things. You know, Hollywood has made such movies in the past. You can paint him as a villain, but he's just life, like us, wanting to live at another level. Well, he is too strong for us, so we are struggling. So the best thing to do is to strengthen ourselves so that we can live with him and we can live better than him. This is all life is. This is all life has always been on this planet. Whoever prepared themselves to live strong, lived. Those who did not, passed on, and we can say this too shall pass. The important thing is that you and me don't pass because of virus. That is the important thing. The most fundamental responsibility right now is you and me stay alive, ensure nobody around us dies because of us. If we do this, then what to do with our business, what to do with our profession? I can sit here and cry, what to do with all my major events that were planned across next 3-4 years' time around the world, this event, that event, big events, mega events, what to do? I know they're not going to happen. So here I am on 2 wheels, riding around the country. I'm saying, this is life, don't let it go by. This is just life, don't let it pass. This is very important, that life doesn't pass you.
Sadhguru, perfect answer for those who are frightened and worried all the time. I guess we end up seeing a lot. So my father, who's a great follower of yours, had this question. He said,
Is he well? Is Amma and father well?
coming to the hospital every day.
Wonderful.
And to me, to me that itself is a lesson. And he says, there is no point being frightened. Exactly what you said. There's no point being frightened. This disease has come to stay just like so many others. We just have to learn to cope with it and realize that we have to get on with our lives. My worry is that, people with chronic ailments, people are letting, their diabetes get out of control, and their heart disease out of control, and cancer out of control. How do we reassure them that, this is there to stay, and how that you need to get on with life? Exactly like what you said. How do we keep that?
See, the thing is, I'm not saying there is no pain, because the change is sudden, there is too much pain. There's so many people who needed treatment for various other diseases who are not getting it, and their life is being shortened or suffering is happening, especially those who need dialysis and others who need to go to the hospital on a regular basis. And anyway, I'm not saying this in any negative terms, hospital being a place full of patients, it is always a hotbed of infections for anybody. There's a reason why we don't take young children unnecessarily to hospitals and things like that, because there are so many people of variety of ailments, we do not know who has come, who's gone. So the same is true now, but it's far more relevant now because it's an active process. It's an active process. So, I'm not trying to belittle the problem. There is a serious problem, there's no question about it. But the choice is just this. People are saying, this is worse than the World War. well, they don't know what happened in the World War then. At least, at least you can go back home and lock yourself in your house and stay there, and Amazon will deliver groceries to you. People will deliver groceries. There are any number of systems in local systems will deliver. You can just live there if you have enough money to survive. But nobody is bombing your house, nobody is shooting at you, nobody is killing you. That's not happening. I'm saying, let us not exaggerate things. There is a serious problem. It has hit us hard, no question, it's hit all of us hard. But as life that we are, we must understand the only thing that we have in our hands is a certain amount of time and a certain amount of energy. Rest is all conjecture in our minds. There's nothing else. There's really nothing else in our lives other than being alive. The rest is all made up. So these made-up things, if your makeup comes down a little bit, it shouldn't hurt you so much. Yes,
Yes.
it affects us, but we are alive. We must make this life stronger. This is important because whether there is virus or no virus, business or no business, time is ticking away. This too shall pass, that's all I'm saying. So, don't let life bypass you, thinking there is virus, so I close down my life for 1 year or 2 years. No, you just have to do something different. Maybe you can't do commercial activity because there's not enough commerce going on, you must do something else. That is what needs to happen. I see a whole lot of people, wherever we've been driving, they're fishing in the rivers, they're driving around, they're climbing mountains, they're doing whatever they can. I'm saying they're living in some other way. But you have a set idea in your mind, if that idea doesn't work, you're going to make yourself miserable and I hope some miracle will happen. Suddenly one magic vaccine will come and everything will go away. Post-COVID, when is that date? People have been predicting, they've been playing astrological games. It doesn't look scientific to me, saying that on this day it will happen. It doesn't look scientific to me. Science will work to provide solutions to prevent things in future, but what is already spread across the world, no scientific solution can go and address all the 7.6 billion people. It's simply not possible. By the time you have address one set of people, another set of people will get it. So the thing is to hunker down, understand the problem. I thought this was about business. If we are looking at businesses as living things which are affected, we just have to lie low, look at it carefully, looking at the nature of our business. Will our business be relevant tomorrow morning? If this happens, what is the worst case scenario? What is the best case scenario? All this you know, I don't have to tell you all this. But fundamentally, the problem is that we have not learned how to handle our own thought and emotion properly. When I say thought and emotion properly, right now what human beings are suffering, those who are not infected, I'm saying, they're not suffering the virus. They're suffering their own thought and emotion, isn't it? If the virus comes, well, I have to suffer, what to do? But why am I suffering my own? And the way we are living on this planet, we have been the virus. If you look at the Living Planet, indictment that's come in the last week, it's unbelievable. 70% of the vertebrate population has evaporated in the last 50 years on this planet. So every other creature thinks we are the virus and we think somebody else is the virus. Now, I am not trying to philosophize on this. The practical thing about this is just that we need to understand situations change, either because of wars or famines or natural disasters or pandemics. When situations change, will we create a new life or will we be stupid enough to die with this virus? I'm sorry I'm using this word because I'm saying this, it is only because human beings are not able to control their compulsive activity, this virus is dancing across the globe. If the instructions came, let's say in the first month it came and said, everybody stay home for 14 days, it's over, which we try to do in India, which to some extent slowed down, but not everybody followed, they had to be enforced, they had to be beaten, they had to be done all kinds of things. But if entire population on the planet was conscious and withdrew for 14 days, largely it was controlled. Or if everybody controlled their international travel, it was controlled. I'm saying if this happened 1,000 years ago in Wuhan, it wouldn't have spread around the world. It's the air travel which is taken. So the conveniences and the pleasures that we have had of traveling freely wherever we want, for that we are paying a price. At least for whatever we have enjoyed, let's pay the price joyfully without making a mess out of it, because by making ourselves a mess, we are not going to solve the problems that we have been faced with right now. Are there challenges? Definitely there are serious challenges, not just for businesses, not just for individuals and families, for nations, for the international community itself there is a serious challenge. How are we going to shape this world? This will depend upon, will we shape this world or will we haphazardly arrive at a shapeless world, will simply depend on how consciously we function right now.
Thank you, Sadhguru. I think that was quite in depth. I have a question from Mr. Mohandas Pai, chairperson of Manipal Global Education. And he says, very often we are faced with many moral dilemmas in managing businesses. What are the principles of governance in today's world?
Namaskaram, Mohan. Well, see, what governance means is, let's say if you talk about governance in a business, it's one way, and it's the same thing in a nation. Let's talk about a nation. Governance of a nation, what does it mean? Nation means, one thing is it's a piece of geography, another thing is essentially it is a certain number of people. So all these different people have different aspirations, diverse aspirations. If you let all of them simply fly, maybe some geniuses will do incredibly well, but all others will get crushed. This will be the nature of human activity. So governance means you create a framework where the genius can find a reasonably good expression, but at the same time, somebody who is not such a genius or not such a strong person also has a place to live, also has some possibility of finding expression to their lives. So governance essentially is a kind of a moderation of human aspirations in such a way that it doesn't go to the extreme. Well, you may achieve something by going to the extreme, but that achievement will come at an enormous pain and suffering to everybody else, which is not worthwhile. That's why there is governance. Well, over a period of time, as our transactions become more and more complex, governance might have become so complex that you cannot recognize this fundamental principle. After all, you created all these rules of your constitution only to give expression to human aspirations, how they should find aspiration. So, like in different countries, the aspirations may be slightly different. Accordingly, their governance may be little different systems of economy or different systems of, cultural influences upon them, what is their preferences may be different, accordingly governance may be different. The same goes for businesses. Like if it's an engineering company, what kind of governance you need, if it's an IT company, what kind of governance you need. IT people don't like to be governed by anybody, they like to work from home. But if it's an engineering company, you must have strict governance, otherwise somebody will fall in the furnace, I'm saying. So terrible things will happen if you do not manage certain situations. So governance is a principle as to ensure the common purpose finds expression. At the same time, the incredible intelligence and genius that a small number of people may have doesn't get curbed. This is the fundamental fight between capitalism and socialism or communism, where larger number of people versus, more talented and capable people. How to balance this, always we've been struggling. That's what governance is, constantly managing this in such a way that the maximum number of people in a given place find expression to their lives in as beautiful ways as they can.
Perfect. One size does not fit all, I guess. Sadhguru, Mr. Srinivas Dempo, chairman of Dempo Group of Companies, has a very similar question in a different way, and he says, what is the solution to the growing disparities in income level of the wealthy and the poor? Although many wealthy people are doing a lot of philanthropic activities, There's a growing anger in the society due to this disparity. What do you believe needs to be done?
See, I know that is a question coming from human compassion, Mr. Srinivas Namaskaram. But in reality, if you look at it, let's say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 1000 years ago, if you look back like this at human societies, the income disparities are much more level today than ever before. Otherwise, just look back and see, all the wealth was in the king's palace. Only king's palaces are left in the country. Rest of the places, where are they? Because there were no places, they were living in shanties. So I'm saying the disparity of wealth has spread out much better. It needs to happen much more, that's a different matter. I feel this whole thing about, this is to some extent instigated by religious institutions and NGOs and others, because in certain societies it's needed, because there are too many gaps in the administration, there are too many gaps in the cover that the government can provide for common people. Like for example, in India there is no social security, universal social security scheme. So, communities have their own little social security, usually unfortunately or whatever, it is a tradition from the past. It is either caste-based communities or religious-based communities have their own little social security for their people. These have become necessary because there is no universal social security, such a thing has not been developed. Till you develop that, this philanthropy will be needed. But philanthropy is not the way forward, if you ask me. Philanthropy is needed in a society which is evolving like India. It is very necessary right now because there are too many gaps. As the economy moves forward, too many gaps, so many people fall through the cracks, you have to have some kind of philanthropic activity, otherwise, since the COVID started, every day we've been serving about 15 to 18,000 meals in the villages, because otherwise these people would starve, especially the older generations, because young people have gone somewhere and they're not able to send money anymore and they would die of starvation. So this becomes necessary in a society like this. But is this the way forward? I would say no, because the real ideal society that you would like to see see, you can never cut down everybody to some kind of equal levels. Equal opportunity is something that you must create. For everybody, man, woman, whatever caste, creed, whatever nonsense you belong to, you must have equal opportunity. But equal development for everybody is never going to work, because you will curb human possibilities, and wherever societies have tried that have been a disastrous failure, all right? Because that is not in human nature. You cannot have one person leveled out to another person's aspirations. It's simply not possible to do that. You cannot have one person's talent and intelligence leveled out to another person's talent and intelligence. This will kill the entire human possibilities. So, in terms of philanthropy, it is needed to fill those gaps. But I feel if you call yourself wealthy, you must see how to generate more wealth rather than creating more philanthropy. Because when you create wealth, you can't eat it all by yourself. Anyway, one thing, you pay taxes, that will go back. Apart from that, you cannot create wealth without involving other people in terms of jobs, in terms of engaging them at various levels, in terms of outsourcing things. So this is how a society happens, that by investing, by creating wealth, everybody benefits, not by doling out money all the time. But doling out money may be very necessary in extraneous conditions like today, in COVID conditions. Yes, philanthropy is very important. In rural India, philanthropy is very important because still there are too many people who cannot stand on their own feet yet. But that should not be the future model for us, that should not be the aspiration for the nation, that we will all donate for some cause. That's not the point. These things should happen, because why I'm saying this is, donation, how long will it happen? At some point it will stop. Unless everything becomes some kind of a business model. When I say business, people are always saying, oh, you're a spiritual person, you're supporting businesses. I'm saying in my understanding, a business means it's a deal that works for both the sides. Whether it's marketplace or marriage, unless it's profitable for both the parties, it is not going to sustain. This much I understand.
Sadhguru, that's a great explanation for us. My next question is a bit different, and it's from a very young girl. It's very profound. It's Isha Reddy, who's a wellness entrepreneur and a practitioner. And she says, if hope is a passive wish for something that seems out of reach, then faith is the implicit belief. And what we truly require is real and it's attainable. In practice, however, how do we differentiate between the two? And additionally, what is the function of hope and faith in our day-to-day lives?
Namaskaram, Ishani. One half of you belongs to me because your Isha is there in your name.
She loves it, Guru. Sadhguru, she's my daughter-in-law.
I know that. So,
Hope
well,
and
it's your hope and faith. See, hope means we create a certain aspiration, we believe it's going to happen. This belief it's going to happen may boost your confidence, may get you focused in that direction, and may get you to the place, to the destination, very much possible. But the entire yogic system, I must remind you, is based on hopelessness. I'm not using the word hopeless in a negative way. I'm saying hopeless means you have no illusions in your head. You look at everything just the way it is. Is it more important to figure out the possibilities which are actually alive around us, or is it important to create a possibility which may or may not exist, but it resides in your mind? Which is better? Because one moves forward not because we want to move forward. One moves forward because he has the strength and the energy and the stability to take a step forward. That's the reason why they move forward, not because they want to. Everybody wants to be successful. You must see in the… right now this IPL or something is starting, you must see in these matches, little kids will be there. Whatever… whether now it used to be Tendulkar, now it's Virat Kohli or whoever comes there, these guys will be itching. They know how to hit every ball better than the champion batsman there, all right? They know how to do it, they know they can do it, they know one day they will become bigger champion, this, everything. But the problem is, morning they don't wake up at 5 o'clock, they wake up at 8:30 in the morning, they're not going to be champions, all right? Hope is there, dream is there, everybody wants success. Tell me one human being who doesn't want success. Everybody wants success. Why does it not visit everybody? Simply because most people don't know where the next step is. They got hope, they got desire, desire becomes hope. Hope becomes faith over a period of time. As it matures, if you have a few influences, bad spiritual influences or religious influences, hope becomes faith. Well, all these extremely positive words I'm putting into negative context because of the immense damage that they've caused to humans, human genius and human ingenuity and human possibility. Because if you sit here without any need for hope or faith, this is only possible, you can sit here if you are a complete life by your own nature. I'm asking you a simple question to Ishani. You as a life or this as a life, is this a complete life or is it half a life? This is a complete life. Why is this life always thinking, or why is this life always feeling something more needs to happen for it to be complete? Once you get into that, you naturally start hoping because there is a vacuum within you, wanting to be something more. If this is experiencing itself as a complete life, now It is exploring possibilities of what life can do according to its intelligence and competence, whether I've come as an ant or an insect or a bird or an animal or a human being, accordingly I will explore, depending upon the strength and possibility of my life. But if I have hope, I will be aspiring for something which may not be rooted in reality. So this is the reason when people come to me, Sadhguru, I have this dream, I have this dream, I say, my blessing is, may all your dreams not come true. Because let your life happen in a way that you could not dream about it. Something new happened to you. Something absolutely new and tremendous happened to you that you could not dream about, because what will you dream about? You can only exaggerate things that you know, already know in your dreams, isn't it? You already know something. If you have 10 rupees, today everybody, I'm in America, here everything is in million and billion, only people are talking. If you have $10, you're thinking of $1 billion. You think it's a great dream? I don't think so, I just think it's inflation. You think it's a great dream, $10 to $1 billion, all you did was little multiplication, all right? This is not even a dream. May your dreams not come true, may your hopes not be fulfilled, because it is very important you as a life should explore possibilities that have never been touched till now. Because everything has not been explored. There is no such thing as ever, everything will be explored. This is a trillion-piece jigsaw. Finding one piece, we are thinking another little piece is going to complete our life. No, if you keep it completely open, absolutely open, your intelligence fully alert, all possibilities and faculties fully alert and open, you will see life will unfold in such tremendous and fantastic ways. It need not be like somebody else, it need not be like someone else, something else, nor even like how you have been yesterday. Today, this day, the next moment can be absolutely new possibility. That's what Isha means.
That's wonderful, totally profound. So we've got time for two more questions, Sadhguru, and this one is from Sanjay Kirloskar, chairman of and MD of Kirloskar Brothers. And he says India was the world power at one time, so much so there's an ocean named after India. And now we have yoga and Ayurveda, which is making their presence felt globally. What is it that we can do from India to export to the world to regain its place in the high table of the community of nations? I know that the Simha Kriya, which now you have been teaching everyone, is really helping with lung capacity. But is there much more India can do to really take that place in the community of nations?
Namaskaram, Sanjay. Yes, there is a lot we can do. Unfortunately, we've not done enough. Only now a little focus is coming in the direction. Though I would like to kind of caution a little bit on Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a fantastic science of, life rejuvenation and enhancing life. But the issue is, we've been working on this for over 25 years. Because it's so nature sensitive, that means if you pluck the leaf in the morning, how it behaves in your system, if you pluck it in the afternoon, how it is, different seasons, how it is, if you kept it for a few more hours, how it behaves with you is very different. So for Ayurveda to succeed, you need a world full of Ayurvedic garden, for which there is no weather conditions everywhere in the world. Trying to treat Ayurveda like the modern pharmaceuticals, like batch after batch, trying to produce the same quality or whatever, which is just chemicals, you can make the same quality. Batch integrity is simply not there in Ayurveda. It's a lot of work, particularly Siddha Vaidya, we've tried very hard, but we are not able to put it out there. In our clinics, it works wonderfully well. When you give it out, it is not the same thing, simply because it is such a life-sensitive science. It is a beautiful way of working upon your health. So the way forward for Ayurveda, instead of thinking of manufacturing Ayurvedic drugs in massive quantities like how the pharmaceuticals are doing and distribute around the world, that it will be taken after 3 months or 6 months or 1 year expiry date, whatever that, instead of going that way, setting up large centers. Let's say if you set up an Ayurvedic center, I'm saying in India, it must be minimum 1,000 acres. You must have gardens, you must have herbs, you must have everything. People come there. Let's say 10, 15, 20,000 people can come at a time, get treated and go back as life-enhancing process. This way, it will work wonderfully well. But if we try to go the same way as modern medicine has gone, which is pure chemistry, biochemistry, this is not going to work that way. This is my opinion. If somebody feels this is not so, I'm sorry, but recently we lost a very important person in the Ayurvedic world. Krishna Kumar from Coimbatore passed away with COVID. Very unfortunate loss for Ayurvedic world. They did a tremendous amount of work, but setting up centers where these treatments can be done large scale is workable. But manufacturing plants across the world like pharmaceutical industry, that is not a very practical thing for Ayurveda, because procuring Ayurvedic resource and converting it into medicine and giving it to people long term doesn't work like chemistry. About yoga, almost nothing has been done, it's mushroomed out in its own way, individual people taking it only now in the last 3-4 years after the Prime Minister mentioned, the International Yoga Day. It's picked up some this thing, but still quality training and delivery. It is happening, it's happening significantly, but still not enough for the world, because what yoga can offer is not just about twisting and turning. It is a whole system. It is a whole science about how to handle every aspect of your life. To deliver this, it will take a lot of this thing. We are trying to archive as much material as possible and see how to deliver it, how to reach people. One important thing that needs to happen is yoga means people should look towards India. That must happen, we are working towards that. India, the spiritual gateway. I must tell you my experience about why, this is almost 16 years ago, I think, 15 or 16 years ago. I was in United States and I was working with our group of boys, and they said, Sadhguru, every day, 100,000 people type out the word spiritual on the net. I said, it's really that many people? Just check out what comes out. They checked out. The first thing that came out was a spa in Mexico. The second thing that came out is a call girl in Northern California. Really, I'm telling you, spiritual. And I said, this is a shame. Spiritual means the first thing that should come is India. India is the spiritual gateway forever, it's been so. Anything spiritual means people turned east. So it is then I decided I must really go online, otherwise you wouldn't have heard about me. So, we are making a huge effort. We would like to sit and talk with you, because this cannot be done by just an organization like ours. We need businesses to get involved in this and make this possibility that yoga does not mean twisting and turning. Yoga means union, yoga means to know how to live one with life. Yoga means a strong, full-fledged life, because that's all we have. There's really nothing else. Everything else is in our minds. The real thing that we have is just that we are alive. How to make this a significant life? This is yoga. The entire science, from sitting, standing, breathing, eating, every aspect, how to do it so that this life becomes a significant life. When it lives, it burns full on. We must sit down and work this out.
We need to do a lot in that space, Sadhguru. Sadhguru, my last question, there are about 100 questions still pending on the net, but this one is very relevant for some of the work which is being done. Just in India, close to 17 million are on Twitter and 100 million on Instagram. So my next question is just about that, and it's from Mr. Harshvardhan Neotia, Chairman, Ambuja Neotia Group. And it says, when the world of social media is so huge, and it's also hard for many to differentiate between what is real and what is not, you have balanced it so well. And so, how do you believe we can inspire people through our ancient philosophies and ethos towards living a meaningful and fulfilling life?
Namaskaram, Harsh. Uh, See, this is something that's going on everywhere. People are talking about virus right now. People are talking about many terrible things that are happening, from child abuse to, human trafficking, to wars and terrible things, drugs, variety of things, all right? There's so many problems highlighted by so many people. What I'm saying is, this is the first time. This is the very first time in the history of humanity that I can sit here on the banks of Mississippi and talk to you, I don't know from how many different places you are. When was this ever possible? I want you to just imagine, or the plight of all the other people in the past. Let's say, somebody as tremendous as Krishna, he has to wait his lifetime to speak to one guy, and that guy is full of confusion. Hundreds of questions he's got. Gautam Buddha, hardly handful of people. Well, Jesus, 12 people and one of them freaked on him. I'm saying this has been the plight of the world. This is the first time you can sit here and talk to the entire world. If this time, this is our time on this planet, this must be remembered, this is our time on this planet, this will never be so again, never has been and never will be so, this is our time. This is our time. How are we going to impact the world? We must make up our minds now. Whatever other little issues we have, whatever other terrible things may be happening, it is very important that we decide, because for the first time we can communicate to the entire world. 4.5 billion people are on the internet. So what are we going to tell them? Are we going to sell our children on the internet? Are we so going to sell drugs? Are we going to sell arms? Are we going to teach people how to commit suicide? Or are we going to tell people how to live wonderfully well? This is our choice. We have not invested enough in this. Right now, we have a project called Conscious Planet. We are moving towards that. The idea is in the next 3 years' time, 2.5 years' time now, already 6 months gone by, we want to make at least 3 billion people conscious about a few simple things about their life, about their own nature, about the environment, about social situations and what they can do in their given place. Just 5 points, simple things that everybody understands. We have to communicate. If we care, if we believe we have a human heart beating within us, when we have tools of communication like this, like no other generation, at this time if we do not transform humanity, it means that we are not human.
Sadhguru, that's why I called you a superhero in the beginning. You'll have to forgive me for that now.
This is not about being superhuman, this is about realizing being human is super.
Exactly. Amazing. But while we were talking, there was a poll which was conducted, and the question to them was, successful leadership requires spiritual guidance more than management skills. And 83.3% voted that they agree.
I'm very disappointed. What happened to the 16.7%?
I think some of them said can't say, so they need to spend more time. They need to spend more time with Isha. The disagree was like a 0.02%, Sadhguru. So I think that's phenomenal. And again, how do we really learn to cope with those challenges? You gave us some brilliant answers. In a way, it was like, wake up and smell the coffee. And
Please,
it's
IMA should involve in making this conscious planet happen, because I want you people to own this, not me.
Yes.
I've initiated it, but I want you people to own this, and as a generation of people, we are capable of making this impact. We have the means, we have the technology, do we have the heart to do it? You must involve yourself in this and let's make this happen. And also what Sanjay said, that aspect also, we must focus on that, because there is nothing more to life than life itself. Making this strong and wonderful is all there is.
That's true, and I think it'll be a privilege for AIMA to do this kind of work, because it's truly touching lives. And really speaking, we only have one life to live. So I think we need to learn, take the guidance and live it well. Sadhguru, again, thank you.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Really, thank you so much. And I hope that journey in America is as exciting for everyone the way we are watching it, because I think you have a lot of us watching you every day on your on the site. But we enjoyed every moment of the session and totally grateful from AIMA for the time and the insight you've given us. Thank you and namaskaram.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you had a wonderful day today. With this, we come to an end of first day of AIMA's 47th National Management Convention. To listen to Galaxy of Speakers tomorrow, connect with us by 9:15 in the morning. You may join with the help of the same link that you've joined in from today. Else, you can join through AIMA YouTube, Facebook, or AIMA LinkedIn. Day 2 of the convention will start tomorrow sharp at 9:15. Many thanks to all of you for being with us. Good night and see you tomorrow.